Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hauntings of Chaos. I'm your host, Salt, and this are the other hosts, Sensei
Yo.
and we are going to do a very special...
God, okay. We're going to do a special episode for you today. Now, I personally am a very, very big fan of Halloween. Always have been. Never really had the opportunity to celebrate it growing up. So what we're going to do for this time is we are going to tell some spooky stories. So hopefully you get the chance to listen to this on or before Halloween, help you get into the Halloween spirit.
No, you wanna kick it off, man?
Okay, all right. So I'll go ahead and kick it off, and I've got maybe the perfect one to kick it off with. Now, I don't know if either of you have ever heard of shadow people. So there's this term called shadow people, and shadow people refers to basically entities that are like your shadow. So they walk around, they like have a physical form, but they're not really there. They just, they're like the outline of a person. Right?
Wow.
Like, so like if you were standing in the doorway, let's say, and the light's on outside, but not in the room, I'm just going to see your shadow.
Wow.
And that's what a shadow person is.
They live in the Shadowverse.
Yeah.
Wow. That's scary, bro.
That's from Yu-Gi-Oh! If you guys don't know.
Bro, next time I see my own shadow, bro, I'll be getting scared, bro. I'm like, yo,
So this starts when I was very young. I used to live in South Dakota. So South Dakota is basically bumfuck nowhere. There's nothing out there, right? And we moved out there when I was very young. I want to say maybe 4 or 5, and we lived in this large house. It was a 2-story house, and there was always something wrong with the place, and I don't really know how to fully explain it, but basically
always wrong.
Yeah. So what it kind of was that at night you would go in your room, you would shut the door, right, and every once in a while you would hear like creaking on the stairs, like somebody was like creeping up the stairs. Sometimes you would even hear like these sounds like somebody walking around in snow pants.
Wow.
It was so weird and like really spooky. Like my hair's kind of standing on end, like retelling this because you're a kid and you're hearing like these tepid footsteps outside your room, and you're like, am I going to die? What is this? And so maybe I'll tell a little bit more about why I was thinking the way that I was thinking later, but for all intents and purposes, it wasn't just me who's having these experiences. My mom, my dad, even my older sister, we were all having these kinds of experiences of just sounds that didn't have a source.
So it wasn't only you. So everyone was scared of this stuff.
Yeah, everyone in the house was scared of this because we were all experiencing it. We didn't know what to do about it. So one night, this was around, I don't know, I want to say probably around the time I was 5. What ended up happening was I was in my sister's room, right? So I was just hanging out in my sister's room. I ended up falling asleep on her bed.
Do you have a sister?
Yeah, I have an older sister.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was in her room. I fell asleep on her bed, and I guess because I fell asleep on her bed, she went in my room and slept in my room. But what ended up happening is around 2 or 3 in the morning, I woke up and I was just incredibly terrified. I was not feeling safe for whatever reason. The room was pitch black. The house was pitch black, except for moonlight coming in through the windows. And my sister wasn't anywhere in the room. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get up. I'm going to go into my parents' room and I'll just lay in bed with them and fall asleep there. So I get up. I walk towards the door. And as I walk towards the door, this shadow figure walks around the corner of the door and just stands in the middle of the doorway. And it seemed to be the shape of a woman. It looked like it was, like a shadow woman. And she was just standing there. I was, maybe about 5 feet away from the door. She's standing there just staring at me. I'm just this little ass
Staring
kid.
at you, bro. How do you know there's shadows staring at you?
I mean, it's standing in the door and I'm the only person
scary
in there.
as hell.
It was super, super unsettling. I didn't know what to do. And as she stood there, she slowly kind of crouched down as if you might do to, pick a kid up or something. So I run past her. I just ran past her, ran down the hall, flew into my parents' room, leapt on the bed. Both of them were in bed. And just crawled under the covers and pulled the covers over my head. And I laid there and I was poking my head out from the covers, and I didn't shut the door. The door was open. and I saw the shadow person come into the room, walk up to the blinds where the blinds were next to the bed, close them, and then leave. And I remember very vividly waking up in the morning and the blinds were closed. So it was interesting because I know a lot of people's experiences with shadow people are negative in nature. They're really bad.
Nah, this one just looking out.
This one.
Just sleep a little longer, close the blind.
Yeah.
It's looking out. It's a guardian angel.
Exactly. It was a guardian angel, but I swear it looked like a demon. I was terrified. I was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, that's scary, bro.
Let's Salt have a good night's sleep.
How old are you at that time? Like,
Yeah, I think I was about 4 or 5. I was very
4 or
young.
5?
Yeah, this is where like some of my memories begin.
Wow.
This is where like I can start like I started having memories because there's something called infantile amnesia where like you don't remember anything until you're like
certain event you remember.
certain ages you like start to remember things, but it was that house where I had like my first memories.
I have that as an adult. Like I forget what happened yesterday.
I think it happens to everybody. You forget what happened yesterday, but you remember what happened a month ago, right? It happens to everybody. I think.
Yeah,
No?
That's how memory works.
Yeah, that's how memory works. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of my stories. I don't want to hog it. I want to hear some of you guys' stories. So maybe Sensei, you were kind of alluding to having a story. I'm kind of curious what your story is.
My story, like I kind of thought about this. I'm a little bitch. I don't I don't watch horror movies. I don't watch any of that shit. Like
They don't make sense. Like,
it's not even about me. I just freak out. Like for me, it's like either out of sight, out of mind. Like
so you don't watch horror movies because they freak you out?
Some of them are stupid. Like they don't do anything. But like Ring, oh my god, bro, that movie.
Rain?
Fucked me up, bro. After that, I could not watch another horror movie for years.
Really?
Like,
I need to watch a horror movie because none of these American horror movies scared me.
Yeah, a lot of them are really not scary, but Ring.
I mean, watching it as a kid is like
Totally different. Totally different.
Yeah.
I think horror movies only like as an adult, like I don't know which one I saw. It was so stupid. It wasn't even horror. It was just dumb. Like the logic didn't make sense, whatever. But anyway, Ring kind of fucked the shit out of me, dude. Like after that, I could not watch another like horror movie for like 10 to 20 years later. I think I watched another one. But anyway, so I don't know. I don't have any stories of like freaky things or thing, but I do have like a gruesome stories that kind of involve like, murder and like being scared, like, cause I was terrified, right? Like you were saying that feeling of terrifying, right?
Yeah.
That like there was this one moment, that 10-second, that was one of the most terrifying moments in my life, right? So to go on that point, let me start off at the beginning. So I used to hang out with this kid, but with a bunch of other kids, and we were like, like it was part of like a thing, right? A group of friends, right? And this was around high school, like 9th, 8th grade. I don't think me and you knew each other that well at that time.
Yeah.
So we used to hang out with this group of kids and stuff. And I'm not gonna name any names, but let's call one of the kid. Let's call him I don't know, Reagan.
Okay. Such a wide name.
Good old Ronnie.
Good old Ronnie. So Reagan there, pretty normal kid, weird like any other kid, if anything, but normal kid. As I grow older, I grow apart from that thing, go on my thing. So out of nowhere, this one day I'm hanging out with, a different group of friends, like thing. I started hearing this chatter about like I think we kind of mentioned this in the podcast. I used to live in a neighborhood that was genderfied, but towards towards one culture, right? There's a lot of that in Brooklyn and New York City, right? So when something happens, people talk, and news will fly. Like you will hear it.
Yeah, especially in Desi community.
Yeah. So So I started hearing the chatter, and that was at night, and it's like, oh, this dude killed someone, and not just killed someone, he like literally slaughtered him, like cut him up into pieces and stuff. Right? You probably heard of that. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So like that was scary, and the house that he did it in, I used to chill there all the time.
And you know the guy who did it.
Yeah, I know the guy who did it, right? At that point of my life, I kind of drifted away from him, but I knew him in a first name basis, and also had him in Facebook. Had a picture with him. I removed that shit right away. I was like, I don't know who's gonna happen, but I'm not trying to get deported. so like that night I was terrified, like hearing what happened and stuff. He was trying to think, right? So the next day he was at large, basically, as far as I knew, right? The next day I'm hanging out with my friend, and then this dude calls me, right? And he's like, yo, Sensei, yo, I'm in a bind. I need help. Like, he didn't say what, but I knew what the fuck he did, right? This dude is fucking calling me, bro. At that moment, my hands were shaking. Like, I didn't know what to do, right? I didn't know if I should, like, I was not gonna help him, right? That's for sure, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do. And keep in mind, I'm still young, right? I was like 16 or 17 or at that time, or no, I was in high
older,
school or
yeah.
college. I was older.
Or
I was
in
actually in
college,
college, yeah. Either way, I was pretty young, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do. I was like, so I literally hang up the phone and I asked my friends, I'm like, yo, should I call the cops? Like, what do I do here?
Oh, he called you after that the incident?
Yeah, after that,
Shit.
right? Like, so this dude calls me, right? And he's like, yo, Sensei, I'm in a bind here. I need a little help here. And I froze. I didn't know what to do. So I hanged up like that like thing. Bro, so guess what happened? That 10-second was terrifying. But the twist of that it was actually not that guy.
What?
Somebody prank on you. Somebody prank on you.
It was one of my friends,
Oh
and
my
he knew that I was going.
God, bro.
He calls me and he pranks me, bro. And he didn't come clean, like, you know, he came clean within like 10-15 minutes, but he didn't come clean right away. So I was freaking out. I was like calling people. I'm like, yo, should I call the cop? Whoa. But yeah, like at that time, like, you know, knowing what I knew, like that murder and stuff, like that feeling of terrifying. Because I didn't know like, this dude knows me. I don't know what the fuck he wants. Like, why is he calling me? Like, I don't want anything to do with it, right?
Right.
Like,
You thought he'd probably frame you or something, right?
I didn't even know what the fuck I was thinking. All I remember is that, like, that brief moment, I was terrified. And there was very few times in my life that I felt that kind of terrifying scare, you know, like.
I can only imagine having somebody who you know is a murderer, like a gruesome murderer, like call you on the phone and be like, hey buddy, I need some help. Like that would be enough to make me shit my pants.
It's the fact that he thinks that I don't know. I probably, because I didn't hear, like, he didn't tell me. He's like, I was like, bro, what the fuck?
Holy shit.
Yeah, so that's
funny, not scary.
For
him, it's scary because he
funny,
at the moment,
it was
I understand.
Not funny, but now I find it hilarious. Right?
So that reminds me of another story I have. Before we go on to it, do you have any stories you want to tell?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my whole life is like scary. Like,
I said it's like, yo, I live on the edge, bro.
Yeah, every moment. Halloween is not like it's not a special event for me. It's happening every day.
I'm starting to get scared just being in the room. Holy
shit. We didn't know.
Yeah. So I have this thing. I see this dream, right? Like I don't have any story, but this thing happened to me every other night. So what happened is I see this dream in my dream.
Fucking lot. I forgot, Octane.
What?
You're a little, dude, yo.
I'm not gonna say that.
No. You have to say it, dude.
Nah, I ain't saying that.
Yo, do not go to vacation.
No, dude, now we getting in trouble. No, now.
Oh my God.
No, that's my,
dude, it's a whole different experience going to vacation. You have a paranoia activity with this.
Yeah, but let's not talk about that. That's too personal.
Okay.
I don't know if it's personal, Octane,
but it is personal. Like, yo, let's not talk about that. I'm not getting to that.
Really?
I'll tell you later.
Maybe we can talk about another.
I'll tell you later.
Maybe we take this offline, bro.
Bro, sleeping with him, like, it's a whole paranoia.
Let's not get into that, bro. What are you sleeping with that? Yo, chill out, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing, like, I see this dream, right? Like, I see this like weird dream every time, not every morning, like every night, sometime. Once in a while it happens. Like I see these dreams, and I feel like it happened to me in real life,
like a night
terror. Then I just wake up and I'm scared, like, oh, what happened? Like, you know, like this thing happened to me, like every other night. Like, I don't know, I'm really tired of this thing happening to me, and I don't know, bro. Like, I guess even sometimes I feel like somebody's in my room, bro. Like in my dream, I see somebody's in my room and I just get up and I get scared. I run away. It's happened, bro. Like I don't know how to explain it, but this is really scary. Like it's
I think that's probably like
I think it's classified as like a night terror.
yeah, I think that's
night
like
terror.
an actual thing that like it's not just you. Like I think it's
yeah, a
like,
lot of people. I know. I
it's,
saw a doctor and he told me a lot of people happen to
Yeah.
a lot of people. But this thing is really scared the shit out of me. Like every time because my mom like wakes up and she lives next door, and she's like always like she's trying to always take on me like why is happening to you? Why don't you like treat for it? Like
Why don't you get exercise?
yeah, like
Holy water.
yeah, right.
Yo, they have that though. They like, oh my god, ecstasy is another.
That's another story.
That's another thing. I don't know, bro. That's something else, bro. But
Yo,
this is
fuck, bro, and especially in like countryside. Oh my god, that's like next level.
That's why I don't live anywhere beside New York City.
New York City, everybody needs ecstasy.
Yeah,
You meet anyone who's normal?
Yeah, for real. Holy shit.
yeah. So this thing, like, I just get scared sometimes. Like, I see my dreams and I just react to it. Like, sometimes a simple thing happens and I still like react to it. But I don't know how to fix this issue in my life. Like, but something else happened. So same thing like Sensei said. So what happened is somebody dies, like somebody stood really close to me, right? Then if somebody dies and next day I see them in my dream.
Oh really?
I see them in a dream and I see like, hey, they're calling me. Hey, like, hey, Octane, hey, come here, hey, what's up? They always say something like that. So one of my uncle died in back home, right, in Bangladesh, and he died, and I saw him like. I used to live in an apartment. I saw him like next. Yes, there's a garbage. There's a garbage and a walkway there right next to my house. And I used to live next to the garbage. So the garbage means like not garbage, like where they put the garbage can. So my room was next to it. So I felt like he was walking by and calling my name. So because he was really close to me, and I really felt bad that night, and I don't know like how to.
That's crazy. No, yeah. I definitely understand. There's I don't know, maybe you're like close to the spiritual world or whatever it's called. Like
I don't know.
It's interesting that you say that because my great grandparents were both what's called mediums. Mm-hmm. So they're like people who like supposedly can like commune with the spirit world or like are able to interact with the spirit world if you believe such a thing. And I mean, this being a Halloween episode, let's just go ahead and assume that that's true, right? But I don't know. Maybe you have the same thing. Maybe that's what it is. That's really interesting.
So you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think that I think that it can be a good thing. Like I do. So some of my like later stories that I'll tell, like I personally don't strictly believe that a lot of this stuff is real. But I do think that if you go looking for this stuff and you go looking for like the wrong kinds of things, you'll find it.
What do you mean look for this thing?
So
no, I was gonna say like I actually feel the same way. Is that logically thinking, I don't believe in ghosts or whatnot, right? Logically thinking, but that shit still terrifies me. Like, like I don't know when it comes, logic just doesn't do anything.
Right.
So I've got a quick story that kind of will explain what I mean. So, back during I think like late middle school, I was kind of a more like rebellious kid, you know. And growing up in a very strict Christian family, I kind of tried to do like all the things that I knew that my family wouldn't like just to like be different, you know, because like at that age you're just trying to like piss your parents off, right? Well, so I had this special notebook and I used to just draw the I don't know if you've ever seen like pentagrams. There's a lot of different kind of like demon and witchcraft like summoning signs and circles and stuff like that. And I used to have this notebook where I kept a bunch of them and I would like draw them over top of each other and stuff, just because I was trying to be like an edgy kid and stuff. And I was trying to like just piss my parents off. One day I'm at my friend's house. He lived in kind of the middle of the woods. It was like just outside of town. off on this dirt road.
Is it South Dakota?
This is when I was in middle school. This was in Florida. So I lived in a town just south of Daytona Beach, and there was a very heavily wooded area where a buddy of mine lived. Well, every once in a while we would go for a walk down the street. It was like a mile and a half to the little like corner store, and we'd like grab some snacks and we'd come back. Well, this one day, nobody was in the house except for him and myself. Everyone was gone. We decide to go to the corner store, pick up some snacks. I go to grab this notebook. I pick it up, and there's a massive bang right against the wall of the house where we are. And we're like, we freeze. We're like, what was that? What just happened? We go outside. We think, maybe it's like a tree branch fell off or something. There's no tree branches. There's nothing anywhere near where the wall was. There were no animals. It was terrifying. That night, I threw that thing away. I took that notebook, chucked it in the garbage. I never looked back.
That could have been the dead note.
Maybe. I don't want to, and that's what I mean. Like, I don't want to go looking for that stuff because I don't want to find it.
You find it, it's gonna happen again, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. And so that's what I mean. I don't necessarily logically. I don't know that I believe that these things exist.
Right. Yeah.
There's just that dark corner of whatever that maybe they do, and if you go looking for it, you'll find some weird stuff.
What's your guys' take on living in middle of nowhere, let's say a secluded?
I don't know that I could do it. It's so quiet,
right?
Sometimes I even scared to drive by myself without music because I don't know. What is somebody sitting next to me behind me? I know that's what you probably do.
You gotta blast the music to keep them away. It's just like turning the lights on.
Exactly, right. That's what I blast the music, bro.
Exactly. No, I completely understand. I feel like all the spooky things that have ever happened to me have been in more secluded houses. And one that kind of fits in the theme with going and looking for it. Right after the time that my parents got divorced, my dad bought a bunch of cameras and put them up in the house to make sure that our mom didn't come back and take things from the house or whatever. And the stuff that we saw in those recordings honestly still kind of creep me out to this day.
Oh, really?
I don't like to think about them because every time I think about them, my hair just stands on end. But the one that stands out the most to me was we had one in the living room, and it was facing a pair of French doors, those doors that they both open, and they opened outside.
Right.
And we had blinds in front of them, the horizontal kind where, and when you want to go look outside those blinds, you pull them down a little bit and you peek outside. In the recording, we're fast forwarding through just to, see all this, see if anything happened that day. And these blinds got pulled down like somebody was inside the house looking outside. And it just kept happening over and over again, as if somebody was so when you have the horizontal blinds, you can put your finger in them and pull it down and it'll create a divot. And that's how you can see outside when you've got those horizontal. I know those blinds are popular in the city.
They are. I know what you're talking about. It's like Google and then you click it.
And so you can pull down on it and see outside.
Yeah.
So it just kept happening. It was so unsettling.
So what do you guys think? These has to be explainable, right? I'm sure we can see it because what if, let's say if we had fifth dimensional view, then we could definitely see it, right? This has to be explainable, right?
See,
it has to be freak of nature.
Yeah.
I think that I kind of agree. I think that there is, for a lot of these things, a really reasonable explanation. And interestingly enough, I feel like spooky things have kind of happened to me less frequently now that I'm an adult and I understand how things work. Right.
Right.
But also, I've seen some things that I honestly, even though I've tried, can't explain.
Yeah, there's probably no ghost, right? There's Gene though. No, Gene, right?
That's speaking
you
at
know Gene, right?
Yeah, I know what it is, and we'll put up the definition. It's more of a religious thing.
Is that DJINN?
No,
Jinn. It's more spirit basically.
Oh, okay.
It's no ghost. It's more
ZIN.
It's more Holy Ghost.
Interesting.
That's what they are. But taking aside religion aspect of things, right? Because ghosts and scary stories and stuff, it's been told in since I don't know, maybe human history, right? Like since cavemen were
Yeah.
used to, right? Like so, like it transcends beyond religion and spiritual and like believe in dimension and stuff, right? What is it about ghost and like scary story that like we keep like it just continues like
So I think I have a pretty good explanation of this. I'm gonna introduce a little bit of science into this.
let's go
this
Joel, let's go, let's hear it, let's
spooky-
hear it.
So your brain does something called erroring on purpose. So
Yeah.
so there's two types of errors. There's a type 1 error and there's a type 2 error, right? So type 1 error, let's imagine a situation. Let's imagine that you are on, you're in the jungle, right? And you're living in the jungle and you found like a nice little area and you camp out there, but you don't have a house or anything. You're camping out there, right? And one day you hear a bush nearby start rustling,
Damn.
right? I would shit my pants at just that, right? So there's two possible outcomes from that bush rustling, right? So one outcome is that there's nothing there and it's just the wind. And the other outcome is that there's like a tiger there and it's about to eat your ass, right?
right
So our brains do one of two things in that situation.
Yeah.
A type 1 error is when you say, oh, that's not a tiger, that's just the wind blowing the bush, and you ignore it, right?
right
And then it is a tiger and you get eaten. That's a type 1
That's
error,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
A type 2 error is when your brain says, there's a tiger in that bush, we better get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And then you react to that, and then it turns out it was just
Nothing,
the wind,
yeah.
right?
That makes sense, yeah.
So if you think about this on the scale of hundreds of thousands of years, right? Evolution selects for brains that perform type 2 errors.
right, I see where you're getting at.
Because if you assume that the thing in the bush is a tiger and you prepare yourself for it to be a tiger, then you stand a better chance of surviving.
That's what I was
if
gonna
it
say.
is a tiger.
Yeah, it is a tiger, yeah. If
Right.
not, then you just stay alive, yeah.
So,
Right.
so basically, what you're trying to say is that humans have evolved into basically protecting themselves or selective or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that the way they way they protected themselves was through the means of getting away from it, right?
Yeah.
A thingy, right? So over the years, because continue to happen, but the concept of a tiger being off that there never changed because no one went to check it, right? Or
Exactly.
most people that didn't go check it didn't check it, or some of them did check it and it was a tiger, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
whatever
exactly.
that analyst was, right? So that's a
Yeah.
really good, interesting point.
it is.
Yeah, so it makes sense, right? Our brains
makes
are,
sense,
are
yeah.
primed to believe that there's something dangerous out there. There's something that can
Yeah,
hurt us, right?
yeah.
Something that makes us scared. So whenever something happens that we don't fully understand, we assign it to be a dangerous entity or
Dude,
something.
that blows my mind. Like
Yeah.
thinking about like haunted house right now. Why do people not haunted house like abandoned house? Why do people say stay? Because if you go there, you're probably gonna fall and break your legs or something,
Exactly.
right? Simple things right there, but it's easier to associate like, oh, there's ghost there. More deterrence, right?
Yeah.
Like more thing, right? Like that
Yeah.
Yeah, it
that
makes
is
sense. It
that is
totally
a
makes
good
sense.
point.
Yeah, the whole concept.
yeah.
So-
That's interesting.
But how do you like deal with this? Like when you're like dreaming, like dreaming is like you're dreaming it, right? And
I would argue.
let's say you would be like, okay, I'm dreaming this. Okay, I'm dreaming it, right? Then I see this thing happening, but how do you like decide? Okay, should I stay on my bed or should I just go after it or should I just run away?
Well, see, that's the thing. That's the type 2 error, right? If you're in your bed and you're dreaming that somebody's in your room, you're going to react as if somebody is in your room, even though there's nobody in your room. Because if somebody is in your room, you can do something about it, right? You can, like, it's fight or flight. You can hop into action, right? But if you don't have those dreams, then you may not survive if somebody was actually in your room.
But the thing is when you dream it, right? Like you think it's happening, right?
Yeah.
You just when you like react to it, it's also happening in the dream. You don't even know.
But that's not for everyone. That might be
No,
your ex.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like for me, like, at least that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I don't know. I don't have an explanation for
For
that,
me,
but-
when I dream, I just forget. I don't know what the fuck happens. I just
Bro, you gotta start like a dream journal or something. That's how you start remembering.
Fuck, I
Yeah,
don't, why,
yo,
why would I want to remember my dream journal?
yo, my case, he's right. I better write a diary on this dream every day.
It's helpful, honestly.
Yeah, right.
So I actually have the same issue. I get night terrors like all the time.
Yeah.
See, the problem with both of you, pussy, and that's is that see for me and this like I remember a story. We went like in Buffalo. Octane had a family house there, so we were like, oh, let's go chill there and stuff, right? So we went few with friends, and one of the friend there, right, he was so paranoid about all this, dude. That whole house when I went there did nothing for me. I wasn't scared because I'm around people. As long as I'm around people, I'm confident, like whatever,
myself,
right? I get scared if I'm by myself. That's a different story. But if I'm around people, I don't get scared. But the moment someone mentions something, that's it. Like the moment, so it's literally out of sight, out of mind for me. Like, yo, you mentioned that this might be haunted. That's it. Like, I'll start thinking about that this is haunted.
Yeah,
So,
it is. I think it is a state of mind thing.
yeah, right. Like,
mind,
so if I go with you two, like, yo, and both of you acting up, I'm gonna be freaking out. Like,
Yo, I don't know what it is. Like, I also get night.
What just happened? Oh my god!
Holy shit! What
Yo,
the?
that pothole, bro.
Or maybe it's like a crazy spooky demon.
Oh shit, yo, on theme.
I just saw the carnage moved.
The what?
No. Okay, so getting back onto this story train, I've got a few more stories to tell.
Yeah.
And
we got so many stories.
Yeah, bro, I don't know if it's just because my family are religious or the way that they were religious, but they were very heavy believers that there's a lot of dark forces out there. And my dad even believed and still believes that these dark forces, these dark, spirits or whatever can come into your home through objects. So he was always very against, like resales, like if any kind of like garage sale or anything like that, buying stuff.
So
like
one man's trash, another man's treasure.
treasure.
Did
It
not
didn't
fly in your house.
Yeah, he did not like that because he was under the belief, and his
yeah.
parents also believed that owning these things, bringing them into your home, was also bringing whatever was attached to them along with. And I think it's more of like kind of the idea of like bad juju, bad mojo, whatever. So he was always very much against that. And there was one specific time where that actually kind of showed itself, right? So there was one time where shortly after we moved out of the house where I mentioned the story about the blinds opening themselves, we had a family friend. They were also Jehovah's Witnesses. They had a house in Florida, and they decided to move out of their house and move back to their home in Tennessee. So they decided to allow us to just move into their home and live there. Basically, we were free to keep an eye on their stuff, and eventually we were going to move their stuff.
Where was this again? Like,
so this was in Florida. This was
okay.
in Central Florida, a little town called Auburndale.
Okay. So we know it's gonna be good, right? You guys.
Yeah.
It's Florida.
Yeah, exactly. So at this time, my uncle and my cousin were living with us. So it was my dad, my older sister, my uncle, my cousin, my younger brother, and myself. And there was one part of the house, this will come into play later, but there was one part of the house where all the stuff that this family had left behind, where we kept it, because it was a room nobody was using. So we just put all this stuff in there. And we kind of left it, right? And one night there was a fireplace there. It was almost winter, and so it was finally cold enough. One of the 2 days out of the entire year in Florida that's cold enough to have a fire. We were having a fire in the fireplace. We're just sitting around telling stories. A good hour passes by, and all of a sudden we hear this sound, like somebody with steel-toe boots just stomping around on the back porch. So there was a wooden back patio. When you walked out the back door, and it was, not sizable, but it was large enough for somebody to walk around on. And we're kind of freaking out because it's the middle of the night. It's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We're just sitting there, and all of a sudden it sounds like somebody's banging around in our backyard. So we kind of freak out. We grab a baseball bat, some other things to defend ourselves.
Shit.
We go back there and we poke around. We're like, hello, is anybody there? And nothing.
Okay.
Crickets. Nobody. Nothing happens. Right. So we're all kind of freaked out. We're a little frazzled. We're trying to figure out, what the hell is that? Maybe let's just calm down. We go back to the living room. We start telling stories again, having a good time. Another maybe half an hour passes by. And then it happens again, and we hear the sound, and I go running towards the back to try to catch whoever it was this time. And I pass the room with all the stuff in it that the other family owned. And as I pass it, I see a rocking chair in the center of the room, rocking side to side. It was not forward and backward rocking by itself, in place, side to side rocking and making the banging noise. I've never come closer to dying of fear in my life than in that moment when I saw that happening. And
you know what I'll do?
What?
I would just take out my phone and record it.
No, I was a kid. I think this was maybe even before iPhone. This was like 2004. Yeah, we saw that happen, and my dad and uncle saw that happen. And once it stopped, they were like, okay, we're putting an end to this. We broke the chair down, and we burnt it in the fire that night.
Shoot.
And it wasn't even our chair to burn. It was the other families we were living with. But, I mean, I can't say I blame them. If I was staying anywhere and anything just starts moving on its own like that, it's going in the fire. I'm not doing anything about it. And so I want to bring it back to, we were talking about, there's got to be an explanation for these kind of things. And I tried to be as logical as
before you
possible.
go on, I want to ask you one question. So this thing happened during night or daytime?
This was at night. So
At
this
night.
was,
So all this thing happened during nighttime, not daytime.
Yeah. So it was nighttime. It was probably around the time I saw it, maybe about 10:30, right? And I would even maybe just question whether or not it happened at all if I didn't see it. And other people didn't see it, but multiple people saw it that night. I still don't know how to even approach that. So it's difficult for me because, I try to be very logically minded, but this was totally different. This was like a whole different ball game. And so that's been just the one thing thinking about.
I think you were about to mention why everything has logic. Like, what do you think
there's explanation for that.
I don't know. I've been trying to think. Like, my best explanation that I have is like maybe somebody was just like had like fishing wire and they were doing it.
But either way, that experience, I think that's worth more than like whatever the explanation is.
Exactly, yeah, because maybe there is a reasonable explanation.
Right.
Maybe there's an explanation out there that says, this was not a spirit or some kind of like demonic presence or anything. All I know is that from my memory of it, that did never happen again. Turns out burning the thing.
How's it gonna happen, bro? You burnt the fucking chair. I was like, wait, did the chair come back alive? We have some Freddy versus Jason.
If the next day that the chair was like burnt but back in the room, put back together, I'd die. I would pass away on the spot. Holy shit.
That's crazy. That kind of like. So this is a story I heard, right? Like I didn't experience, right? So this during high school, the story was going around about this other high school, right? I don't remember the name. Let's just call it Shitlow. And like what the story was, and this was from everyone was saying it, from like the popular kids to this, like all cliques, and like in New York City is very diverse, so people tend to stay with their culture too. Like all like I heard this kind of story, so I was like, sorry, I think it was middle school. My bad. In middle school. So and then so the story was that in this high school there was this hallway. And in this hallway, it would just make this noise of the high school's name. So it would be just slowly like Shiloh, and then there would be echo and stuff, right? Like, so imagine like how that feel like Shiloh, and then it would just like be echoed over and over. And this was something like, so when I first heard that, like, you think prank and whatever, right? But this was like popular enough to go to like multiple high schools or multiple middle schools, and like, people knew about it. It was like a known thing. Yeah, like a little like local legend. Yeah, like a local thing. And I'm like, my first thing, I was like, why didn't they break the hallway or the wall or some shit? Like, but yeah, no, that like freaked me out though. Like, just hearing that, like going to any hallway after that was kind of
Yeah.
By yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to be left alone after
Yeah.
some stuff like that.
But
happens.
just imagine, like, take yourself back there, like you're just walking down this hallway and you just hear the school name over and
Yeah,
over.
so-
Not nothing but just the school name, not even
Yeah.
boo or anything.
Have you guys ever had like classes like after school, like after school classes? Then you after the classes is usually quiet, like not
Yeah.
many people go
Yeah,
after
there's
school,
like
right?
nobody in the
So-
school. Yeah.
So if you go to big school, I went to a big high school, right? Where it's big ass high school, like big hallway, right?
Yeah.
The hallway is like that big. Like if you somebody says something from that other hallway, you could hear there's echo in this hallway.
Mhm.
So one day I was going through this hallway, right? And I see somebody's like talking, like I hear some voice, and I look behind, I see nobody. But maybe somebody was talking from the other side. Could be, but
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
How often, like, do you guys think, like, you guys have paranoid activities? Like, how often do you feel like something happened that you just you don't want to think about why that happened? You just ignore it, like for a small thing to be a big thing. Like.
I try to go at it like what is exactly it is like.
Yeah.
Like
How often that happens to you? I feel like it happens to me all the time. Like,
Really?
No.
I sometimes do. Like, I lose things, like things I put here, and it just vanished. Like,
No.
I don't know where that thing went. Even if I clean the room, I still not find that particular like comb or
Yeah.
whatever.
But it has to do with I think the mentality, like that way you think about things like that. I think if you take something so easily, it's gonna be easy. Otherwise, it's gonna be hard on you. I think that's my thoughts on it. That's how I think. If something happened to me, let's say. I'm like middle out of nowhere and I see something happening, right? And what can I do? I would rather deal with it than like going like away. But the only problem is me when I'm sleeping it happens, I get scared. But in real life it happens, I can deal with it. You get my problem?
Yeah, I see what you mean, because I don't know. For me, I believe that like knowing so let's say that like let's just assume that like the spirits trying to interact with you is a real thing, right? I think the most dangerous thing, my belief is that the most dangerous thing is letting them know that you're able to notice the things that they do, because then they can fuck with you. Like then they like know, like I can get him to like react, and so it like keeps happening. And so for me, the biggest thing has always been, do I feel like something paranormal is happening? I'm just gonna ignore it.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
I think that's the safest thing. As for how often that happens to me, I don't know. Every once in a while, I can't describe it as anything other than just incredibly bad vibes. Like somebody who's just like been told that they have cancer walked in the room, and like they haven't even announced it yet. There's just like that, like the room just darkens.
Yo, nah, that's actually like I do believe in like vibes and like aesthetic atmosphere. Like, what is it? The Japanese that have a whole thing, or Asian like feng shui or whatever. Like,
feng shui, the flow.
The flow, right? That's like talking about like the whole like the millennials and Gen Zs made like the word vibe now more accessible to use, and it really is, right? You could vibe with things, you could vibe with people, you could vibe with like a whole environment, right? The vibe is such it feels like an out of body experience, but that impacts your internal thing, right? That you were saying, right? Like, so when somebody like that's
so when you say paranoid is a very 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 strong word. I think that you don't want to use paranoid for everything, right? Like paranoid, like something when you're really, really scared, really, really, really scared of something that really happened.
So you read the dictionary, I see.
Bro.
You trying to take a job?
No. I mean, I don't mind. Just give me that job, bro. Yeah.
It's the new Grammarly.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So
pass off the Grammarly hat.
Yeah, give me the hat. Give me the hat.
Yeah.
So when you say paranoid, I think I wouldn't use the paranoid word, because I never been paranoid that like you experience every day, right? Like you said, like every day means like every other day, right? You paranoid about stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I wouldn't say that. I mean, for me,
paranoid to me is like things that I'm not really like. It's like I'm like sort of scared for my life, but I know I'm okay, but I'm like scared for my life. Like that's
Yeah.
paranoid
Something comes
for me,
inside
right?
from you, right?
And
Inside.
that could happen anytime. Like when you're driving and like somebody cuts you off and you
Yeah.
swerve, that 10-second moment is paranoid, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm like really scared at that moment, right?
But if you get into an accident and you call it paranoid, I wouldn't call it paranoid. I would call it accident because it just happened. Like
but
I
who
mean,
cares
no.
about what the terminology? I'm
No.
talking about like paranoid things like.
I mean, that way you define paranoid, I think is maybe I don't know.
So the way I've heard paranoia defined, and I think this makes the most sense, is paranoia is only when you're wrong. So if you're paranoid about something and then it turns out you were right to be paranoid, then you weren't paranoid. You were just open to the possibility that something bad could happen.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's situations where you're paranoid, there's situations where you're being cautious, right? For instance, if you've been, let's say that you've been like cheated on in the past, right? You could be paranoid about somebody cheating on you because you could be with somebody who's never going to cheat on you.
Right.
But you're paranoid because it's happened before, right?
Yeah.
But also maybe you're open to noticing things that your partner's doing that are like other things you've seen somebody else do when they were cheating.
And your body and your gut does react to that too. So and that comes to whole talk about atmosphere and vibe because you felt that vibe before. So anytime you do see a similar vibe, you feel it, right? Of course, body language and stuff. And like on that point, right? Like I get the understanding of like the word paranoia being like something that thing, but it also comes from like, you know, if you understand like and people like it's okay to be paranoid about like your ex or thingy, but if you know that is a paranoia, you work on it and stuff, that's where self-growth comes in and self-improvement and all that comes in, right? But yeah, I do think like we are paranoid about a lot of stuff. We just don't notice like the way it is. I'm not saying paranoia is where you continue to let it stop you from doing everything. That's like, well, I guess the extreme case that most people associate it with. But there's underlining to it. So
I agree with that. Yeah. And one more thing about vibes that I know that I mentioned recently I was out in Colorado doing a road trip with my cousins. Well, last year I was also out west doing another road trip, right? And both times when I was in like the Midwest, and I mean like Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, those states, Montana, there's just something wrong with those states. And I don't know if it has something to do with like because of the like all the Native American burial grounds or what it is, but every time I'm out there, it feels like dark.
Question about the Halloween, like why do we this is the pumpkin symbol of Halloween, like why this fruit?
It's because it's autumn harvest. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the harvest moon or so basically a lot of Western crops become ripe around autumn. Autumn's considered to be like harvest time. And if you consider even like corn, there's a saying in corn country, knee high by the 4th of July. That's like how you know that your corn's growing good and it's like it's gonna be ready in time for the harvest. Well, autumn is harvest season. So, fruits and vegetables like pumpkins or, corn, a bunch of other fruits and vegetables become ripe. Apples become ripe in harvest. So harvest time being autumn. So it's kind of seen as the beginning of the yearly death, right? Is kind of how it's viewed in a lot of culture, is that the leaves are dying and passing away. We're going into winter. Winter is historically, before technology, before agriculture, winter was a time of complete uncertainty because there's no plants growing anywhere.
Right.
Everything's died off.
Winter is coming.
Until, wait, what?
Winter is coming. Game of Thrones.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that winter is coming mindset. So autumn, and it's kind of interesting too with Halloween. Halloween is associated with death. And so it's autumn because it's where you collect the rest of your food for the rest of the season, and then everything dies in winter. So you're transitioning into this like period of just like death and depression because it's so
Yeah.
fucking depressing
Gotcha,
for like
wow.
January to
Bro,
like
January, but I gotta say, I do like out of all the seasons, right? Let's say fall. I like the color of fall, like that
Yeah.
whole pumpkin, like what do you call this color? Yellowish,
orange.
orangish, right?
Orange, yeah.
Orangish, pumpkinish color, right? Like I like that whole aesthetic, that color. It's a nice vibe.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
What's your? Give me one of your guys' favorite like horror / Halloween movie, like. Oh,
Interesting.
just one.
I'm not a big
Just
fan
one.
of Halloween, so I don't know like if I have any favorite.
Really?
I don't
think
have any.
In recent memory, It Chapter 1 and 2 have been a favorite of mine. I watched the original It that came out in the 90s
Right,
growing up, and now that I'm older, the remake was just so good. So that's a favorite of mine. But honestly, I'll just go through and so one piece of horror media that everybody should experience at some point in their life, Silent Hill 2, the game. Play it, watch somebody play it. I recommend playing it yourself though.
Yeah.
Like just like watch like a playthrough or like a somebody tell the story of the first game because the graphics are actually not that great. But the second game, I don't think I've ever seen a more well put together piece of media than the second Silent Hill, and there's just so many good storytelling elements, and I can't even get into them all, but they cover death, they cover loss and how people react to it.
Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2,
Okay.
people's reactions to and regrets for the actions that they take when they're like mourning somebody. It's insane, like the analysis that you can do into like the things that they have and the different imagery that they have, just legendary. So I highly recommend that if anybody's looking into that. I'm gonna take just a couple minutes. I'll probably cut this out and just think if there's, because I know there was one other story that I wanted to tell.
Bro, you told us so many stories, and I'm scared to go out of this house and go home by myself.
Yeah, there's some spooky shit out there.
The rocking chair, rock by itself, bro. That shit is really scary.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was gonna get one rocking chair from my bedroom, but now I'm not gonna get one. I blame you, Saul.
Yo, you're gonna wake up in the middle of the night. That shit's gonna be moving by itself.
So before we get into that, you said you really didn't get to celebrate Halloween as a kid. You wanna like explain like what your experience was? Like I'm curious to know actually.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody who's familiar with the religion Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay.
So I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, right? And Jehovah's Witnesses don't really believe in.
Wait, what is that?
It's a religion.
Yeah.
I think it's part of Christianity.
Yeah. Jehovah's Witnesses are kind of a, I don't want to call them a cult. People might get offended, but
let's not get canceled.
Okay. For lack of a better term, they're very selective about who they allow to be Jehovah's Witnesses. And one of the things that they believe is that all holidays are kind of bad. They're bad for you. They're like non-Christian and stuff. So no birthdays, no Christmas, no Halloween, none of that stuff. Yep, even your birthday.
Well, I mean, is this the whole point of the whole Christmas, right? Like that's they celebrate the Jesus' birthday.
Yeah, right.
Christmas is a different. It got
but he said the birthday's like. That's what I'm curious about.
So it's kind of like a longer story, but basically the gist of it is that they believe that celebrating these things are like pagan traditions, which to be honest they kind of are. So like the backstory of it is that back during Rome, during the reign of Constantine, the person who made Christianity the Roman religion, the reason why he did that is because pagans, which were like another religious sect, and Christians were basically warring in the streets. They were just going at it with each other. And in order to stop this, what he did was he made one of the religions, the like national religion, and then he made that religion adopt a bunch of the other religions, beliefs and holidays, right? So what ended up happening is that a lot Christians started celebrating pagan holidays, and one of those pagan holidays was Halloween. So Halloween is kind of this. The idea behind it is that you put on masks to scare off or ward off evil spirits. So it's also called All Hallows Eve, which refers to I think it's like an equinox or something like that. But it's what people believed, you know, is when witches were most powerful and when people came out and, or like demons came out and stuff like that. So the idea behind Halloween is you put on scary clothes, you put on a scary mask, and you pretend to be one of these scary things, one of these scary beings, and scare them off, right?
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of a cool little background. We've kind of I think we've kind of moved away from it a little bit. Now we have Sexy Nurse Halloween. We have like, you know.
Is it the parties or costume for kids, candies for kids? That's all Halloween. It's literally treat for everybody. You either get a kid as a treat or you go a party and you know.
Yo, and straight up, I didn't get to start like trick or treating until 16.
Shit.
So I only had 2 short years with trick or treating.
Bro,
What do you mean? What age can you do? Like up to what age?
So I feel like you could do it up until like maybe you're out of high school. I feel like that's reasonable.
There's no rule, right?
No, there's no rule. Halloween in New York City is interesting. So we went trick or treating again. Like I think Halloween is more of a North American thing. Like we didn't have that where I grew up. So when I came here, that's when I started getting exposed to Halloween. The first few years I didn't really understand it, but once you know you get the concept of candy and stuff, you're like, okay, now it's time to go out. You know, it's time to venture out. You know,
You tell me 3 kids.
What am I doing home? So in New York City, you don't as much go to door to door. You go more, at least for where I grew up in Brooklyn, we went more store to store because it seems more safer and you know, because stores are not gonna give you crazy shit.
That's true.
Not saying that people don't go to door, they do, but personally, like when I was doing it there, I went more thingy. Best thing was the Chinese store once didn't have candy, so they gave me a coupon for a free fries. You know,
That's even better.
Shout out to that Chinese store, yo. As a kid, bro, I was like full French fries for free. Like that's it. That's
dope.
That's
funny, bro.
So
Yo, that is pretty sick. But like just like the spirit of Halloween is just like a really cool one. You go around, you spook people, you trick or treat.
It's pretty light.
Never got the opportunity to treat anybody. Usually it's like egging their house or like throwing toilet paper over their house.
Right. I
never
seen it
got
on
the chance to
TV.
do
Yeah.
But you know, whatever. You're not really missing out.
Yeah.
I feel like really it's just an excuse to like dunk on that shitty neighbor that is in like your neighborhood. Like where you just go knock on the door knowing that they're gonna be shitty to you, so you just trick or treat them.
Right.
And you get away with it because you're a kid, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Dude,
I never did it. To be honest, I never did this kind of a Halloween, even though I've been living here for like decade, but I never did it. And my parents never encouraged us to like this is such a thing. Because as a Muslim, we don't celebrate this holiday. But for Muslims, their thing is a Christian holiday, so that's why they don't celebrate this.
I see.
They're like, okay, why you have to dress up as somebody else? Like, be yourself.
Yeah. I get that because I guess it doesn't really make sense unless you believe in like whatever backstory for like Halloween existing and like witches and all that, you know.
Yeah, I even like as you kind of mentioned, right? Like we're kind of going away from the religion or religion aspect of it, and it's becoming more. And this is one aspect where I actually like that it does become more inclusive, and you know you got to thank capitalism for that actually, because things like Halloween or even Thanksgiving and stuff, like someone coming from like South Asian or even East Asian and stuff, like a different culture, we automatically assume it as either American holiday or a Christian holiday, just because America is Christian dominated, right? So in terms of religion, so in that aspect, I do feel like it's becoming more inclusive now. A lot of people do it, even like think I would let my kid do it, and I seen even like less like modernized people in my culture would do it now. Because you know, free candy,
exactly,
and Thanksgiving free food. Like,
so there's a story about this candy, right? So I know this couple, right? They have 2 kids, right? So they want to go back to their country, right? Where they came from, right? So what happened during the Halloween? What they do, they usually send their kids to places and get the candies, and what they do, they save this candy, and whenever they go the next month, they'll probably go next month, right? Go to overseas and just take this candy and they like
smart make the kids work, make the kids work.
So this candy they have like not only one kind, they have like multiple kind of like candies, right?
Yeah.
So when you go back to country, just give them, hey, this is candy, right? Just get it. Eat it.
a smart technique. You only Desi parents will South Asians will
Right,
come up with
yeah.
that shit.
One scary thing happened to me. Like, when you guys pass by a grave, right? Do you feel like scared?
Grapes?
Yeah.
Grapes?
No, the graveyards don't give me good vibes.
No?
Like.
Yeah, I think it comes back to that vibes
Yeah,
thing. I think
really?
whenever it's graveyards, I just feel, like people are dead here, and I don't know if it's just like the idea.
You know why you guys feel like that? So I grew up in a village, right? So village is very dark, right? It's pitch dark, right? So then where we have this graveyard, right? It's front of our house, like not front, like there's a like a lake there and front next to it, right? Is the trees grew on the top of the graveyard, right? And when there's a way to go to go to the main street. So at night it's really hard. Like for me, I was young, right? I was like 10, or I think it was like 7 or 10, something like that, right? Every time I go there, I never walk there at night. Never walk there by myself. Like I always like run from like 1 mile far. Like I run from that. I didn't even look at there. I was that scared.
Yo,
So,
no, but
graveyard-
like there's this graveyard near where I grew up. That shit doesn't give me creeps.
Cause here graveyard is very peaceful. Like you see,
Yeah.
there's nothing there. Like there's nothing to scare of. But in village,
Yeah.
like in like out,
Capitalism, bro.
there's no lights. There's like you're
yeah,
just
you-
Oh, bro, those yo.
But if you-
Yeah.
Anything
you
in the
know-
countryside, like not just graveyard, bro. They had this tree. Like I remember, they had these big ass trees. What they call like they were like huge, but like it was so dark under there. I forgot it was like Bodgas or something. Like,
I know what you said, but yeah. So
yeah, but they were like, yo, in the countryside, bro. Anything is just dark and scary, but it's also zen though. Like
I guess. I do kind of like those like dark and scary kind of like I don't know what it is. Just something about it's actually kind of relaxing. It's like
Yeah.
lower lighting and like there's a couple spooky things around. I did have one last story that I wanted to tell,
Alright.
and it's a little bit more along the lines of
let's hear.
I guess I would say psychological horror, so a little closer to your story, Sensei.
Mhm.
This was in early high school. I was visiting a friend of mine, and his mom was there, and so as a little bit of backstory, this friend's mom didn't hang around with very savory people, so she would have some questionable people around occasionally. They would, do drugs, drink a lot of alcohol and stuff. And one night we're hanging out in the house, we're doing something, I don't even know what we're doing. And
Not
they're
drugs.
standing in the doorway, not drugs. Well, I mean, it's early high school, so we were just doing some like little kid shit.
yeah.
But we're hanging out in the living room. They're standing in the doorway. Out of nowhere, this big guy who she was hanging out with, I don't know if she was seeing him or what, he just hits her and she falls to the ground. She gets up and she pushes him out the door and he like falls over backwards. They're both drunk as shit. And I don't know, probably on something else too. So she gets up, she like slams the door and locks it. And he spends the next 30 minutes just banging on the door and just screaming about how he's going to come in, he's going to kill all of us. And like, you need to open up this goddamn door. And
shit.
it was terrifying. I didn't want to go back there for a long time afterward because it's honestly just scary to me that people can be like that.
Right, like at that moment he broke through it. You don't know what the fuck you would do.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
like,
And
it's-
I'm
yeah.
super grateful that the door just held.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to the door maker.
Yeah, yo, door maker.
No, you know who we need to shout out? The Hinge, bro.
Yeah, for
The Hinge,
real.
bro. Hinge don't get love, bro. We need to shout out Hinges.
Yeah, for real.
They don't get enough love.
But yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was terrifying. It was one of those like really like scary moments, and it's one of those things where when I tell like a supernatural story or something that's like more ghost related, I like my hairs stand on edge because I just can't fully grasp what's happening. I don't have an explanation, but when I have an explanation, that explanation is somebody's threatening to come through the door and kill you. That's just
Yeah.
that's some real fear right there.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is just so difficult for any media to really kind of reproduce because you're not fearing for your life, even if the person on the screen is.
Right, right.
But like supernatural horror, very easily reproducible. If you see some spooky shit on
Yeah,
TV,
you know like Jason is coming.
exactly, exactly.
I do you guys get goosebumps like?
All the time, especially when I'm watching something spooky.
Yeah, I do like it sometimes.
But it's really bad when something spooky actually happens to me. If I have night terrors or
you get goosebump only get like scary thing. Like, don't you get goosebump like it's something like inspiring? No,
I don't know. I see what you're trying to say. Like with me, goosebump and my stomach are together. I'll get like if I get like anxious, then it would be like if I get scared. I don't know. I don't usually get goosebumps. I'm just like freaked out. But yeah. But goosebumps are interesting. I guess it goes with the whole vibe shit. Like I feel like literally vibes are putting you like static.
I wonder what the like relation is. Like for instance, like we were talking earlier about the whole type 1, type 2 errors and why people believe in ghosts because it could be like a threat. But if that's the case, why goosebumps? Why do you get goosebumps when you think that there's ghosts or something?
Let us know why if you guys get goosebumps or why you guys think you do.
I think on that note, that's all we have for Hauntings of Chaos. Maybe we'll do this again in the future. I don't know. I'm sure I could probably think up a couple other spooky stories. Maybe we could get somebody else on here.
Let us know your spooky story too. Like we'll love to know that too. Like shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to drop your spooky stories of your own. We'd love to hear them. Maybe we can even retell them ourselves.
Oh yeah, that would
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Cool,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for watching this one. We're gonna have a short little thing. Of course, we're gonna put up socials and everything. Feel free to follow us. But happy news! My birthday's coming up, so I'm actually gonna just
take all this.
Yep, I'm gonna take all these candles and I'm just gonna blow them out as like a little early birthday thing.
Yeah, this is our attempt at half-assing everything.
That was a good idea. See now.
This guy.
That idea too good idea.
We had a little spat about how half of us has some idea.
We need a cake though. Can you cut this now?
Alright, bro. Salt happy birthday, dude.
Okay, we're gonna sing a song or what?
No, absolutely not.
Happy.
No. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and I guess happy birthday.
Yeah.